and became this evolved strain. So the weak and the lame and the so-and-so, they didn't get to procreate. They didn't get the women. The guys who got the women, now he's going back. I mean, this isn't yesterday. The guys who got the women were the tallest, the fittest, the best hunter, the leader of the pack. That's what he's talking about. But he's talking about it not only on a human scale, but on an animal scale. And the winners on the animal scale were those whose adaptation led them to be healthier, got them to eat more, got them to be more resistant to disease. Birds is what he looked at. And not insects. I mean, he did do some insect stuff, but he never got to a point of differentiating. Lizards, he got to a point of differentiating. Birds, he got to a point of differentiating. Those are the beak like this versus those are the beak like this. I mean, again, he was looking at, if we all started out at 1, which one that went to 1 plus 1 was more fit, was more capable, was healthier, was taller, was stronger, faster, a better provider, and blah, blah, blah. So that's the Darwin theory. It's been bastardized. He never talked about ruling. It never even came into his view.
They have the idea that those who are more advanced should rule over those who are less. Like the humans over the animal kingdom.
No, that's a Nietzsche derivation. And the Uberman, his idea was that there would be, he's the one who took sort of a Darwinian example and posted it up to a political place. But it was bullshit. It was total bullshit. And everybody finally got it was total bullshit. But, I mean, the Uberman is something everybody could define differently. And in every age, Henry Ford was the Uberman. He had total faults. I mean, the guy was a fucking whack job. He just
Henry Ford?
A great idea.
Henry Ford was a figure in American history who advanced us forward.
No doubt.
Before Henry Ford died, he renounced anything that he said that was anti-mimetic, and he had a newspaper that was like a courier of truth. And I don't know what happened, but he recanted on anything he said against the people of Israel, and that's that happened before he died, actually.
Well, as he was coming to death, he realized he couldn't live forever. Something came to him very late. He still wanted his company to survive. He looked in the hand of his son, whom he didn't trust one iota.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, God. He thought his son was a total tool bag. He named him the president of the company so the stock would go to near zero so he could buy it all back up. Because he's a total dick. Yeah, Henry Ford. But he gave us basically an affordable automobile, which absolutely changed one of the most important sort of mechanical improvements in the growth of America. All our roadways, our housing, suburbia. I mean, everything spatial changed because of Henry Ford. That's a pretty powerful impact, but he was pissed that he wasn't getting enough money for it.
Did he come up with the industrial line, or like the, what's that called, where you're on a line and there's a belt?
His idea was everybody out there was making cars, but they were making them handmade. So they're kind of one-offs. So here are the body guys. And they get some rolled steel, and they bang it into shape. They get some stamps. They press it into this. And a team, 20-odd guys, put together a car and shoot it out the door. Oh, here comes another bunch of shit.
Oh, the conveyor belt. Did he come up with the conveyor belt?
He came up with the idea of using a conveyor belt
Damn.
to mass produce automobiles.
He was an Aquarian, I think. Yeah, he was. It's very Aquarian. All right. Well, I just recorded you talking on the phone for the past 10 minutes on my YouTube channel, Wake Movement. Thank you for being my first calling guest on the show. Your wise words are much appreciated.
Well,
hopefully the ADL won't.
Aren't you supposed to ask my permission before you use them?
Since we're related, I think, and you're the of All Souls Enterprises. You have the bank account under your name. I'm allowed to put that onto you. You unwittingly signed up for that. So, go figure.
Well, I stand by what I say. So.
Yeah, I feel like I've been watching the comments on the Jonathan Greenblatt Twitter comment, and people are saying like accusing him of crying wolf, and it's mostly the black community who is.
No, it's this whole got into this victim culture. Everybody wants to be a freaking victim. Everybody wants reparations. I mean,
they say that on the ADL website is that's why they want reparations. And it turns out they've already got like a lot of reparations.
No, they've gotten a ton of reparations.
I didn't know.
Native Americans, who deserve reparations more than them? Only barely having that discussion.
Or the blacks. Dave Chappelle.
The enslaved blacks of America. Anybody else deserve reparations? Oh, okay. So we go to this conference, and the poor countries are asking for reparations for pollution. The industrial companies, the industrial countries, are polluting the atmosphere to the band of like crazy. They're basically destroying the earth.
Oh.
And these poor people, they can't get ahead because the environmental stuff means they can't burn more anymore, they can't do this anymore. And yet they're suffering from these, climate conditions caused by the first world powers. They're asking for reparations. Trillions of dollars. I say give it to them.
I know. Imagine if we treated the black people like Africa, someplace in Africa, say Ethiopia was really Jerusalem and Israel, and so we believe that they were really the chosen people, so we would protect them like we protect Israel. And like, actually, that didn't come out.
It was the way it was supposed to happen, but again, it's all crap. It's all just a story.
I know. Well, you like to talk about how the real promised land, according to the Bible story, was in Africa. But I mean, that's still like giving acknowledgement that there was a God who chose some certain people over others. That alone in it is supremic. Yeah, right.
Chosen people.
Exactly.
None of this. All this is made up so that I can say, I'm better than you. That's the end of the end. Now, am I better than you because my country is better than you? Or because my religion, my God is better than your God? I don't know. I don't care. All of this stuff is divisiveness. I'm better than you.
And the Gnostic teaching is that we have that inside of us still. And I admit I do have that. I'm like, oh, look how smart I am.
We have it from thousands and thousands of years of our history.
And we all think that we're the epitome, the pinnacle of humanity.
Okay, so what happens? Basically, Homo sapiens pop up. We got some others, Homo erectus, still out there. We even have some Neanderthals still out there. And we're popping along. We're hunting. We're gathering. We're living in caves. We're scared shitless. If a lightning storm happens, we think it's the end of the world. We don't know that the sun's going to come up tomorrow. But it does. We're basically...
naked and afraid.
We're naked, afraid animals who are a little bit smarter than the bears that are trying to eat us. So...
what are we now? How have we changed?
So...
that's still in us. That's still in us.
We realize that as we procreate, our tribe size, when it gets to like 20, 25, 30, it's unmanageable. We got young bucks who want to be king, and we got women having children, and we can't quite feed them. So the oldest son takes his wife and his 5 or 6 or 7, and they wander off to some other place for some better, hunting and gathering. So we do that until there's about 1 million of us. And we're scattered all over the place. It's incredible how far a Homo sapien goes. They go to China. I mean, they go to fucking China from Africa. They go to Norway. They go everywhere. They really just go.
How do you know they didn't? How do you know they weren't planted from different places?
No. It just has to do with archaeology.
We could have. You think we all came from one place specifically? We didn't perhaps come from
one place in Africa.
Why do you think that? First of all, the out of African theory has been disproven, so that's not just like the Big Bang. It's not the number one theory. What's the other option besides there being just out of one place?
Well, the place where it probably all began is something like Persia.
That's what I think too. I think India, closer to the east too.
And it spread into Africa. It spread into India. It spread into China. But it was a little harder to get into China because you got to go across some pretty tough terrain. It spread into northern Europe. And at the end of, give or take 100,000 years of fucking around, we're still 1 million population because we didn't learn yet how to go from hunter-gatherers to farmers and herdsmen, shepherds. When we made the leap from hunter-gatherers to farmers and shepherds, now all of a sudden we could build villages. And building villages was the exponential boost for humanity. Otherwise, we'd still be 1 billion on the planet instead of 2 trillion or 2 billion. We'd be 1 million. We had to come up with government. And the question of what government? Religious government or political government? We're dealing with the same issues today.
What if both those governments, maybe an amalgamation of both of them, each one serving a little bit of it?
Well, the thing is, you have to, if you're going to come to a utopian place, then what you're asking is for people to live peacefully with each other regardless of religion. Live peacefully with other regardless of government nationality. That's the utopian place. It's one of the reasons it's never been reached. Because most utopians have been based upon a religious thing. And that doesn't work. Because the governing theme has to be dealt with.
One thing I'm thinking about lately is that environmentalism and global warming, like those are things that I think the Aquarian could get behind, and that's like that's that could reach to both levels. The right side of the spectrum thinks that it's used as a way to usher in the one world, new world order, which I agree with. But so there has to be a way to make environmentalism seem acceptable and logical and authentic and genuine to the right, and I think that could be a way to bridge the left and the right without going into religion too much. Because on the hippie side, on the leftists, I mean, they love Mother Earth and it's like a thing. But then on the right, they have more of that Christian idea of like subduing the earth and.
Yeah, but the unity of them is really quite. It is quite simple. You might want to record this.
We're recording.
The unity of it is really quite simple, and it's called survival. All right. At the end of the day, we are, as we despoil our earth, jeopardizing our very survival. We are making places where you can't breathe. We're shutting down India for weeks at a time, telling people to stay inside, and because it's toxic outside. There's 1 billion people in India. Sorry, guys. Stay inside. It's too toxic for you to go outside. This is our global climate we're talking about. This isn't the threat of somebody dropping a bomb on us. This is what we're doing to ourselves. At the end of the day, it's our survival that is going to finally unite us. And it won't matter if you're some guy with a 4x4 and a cave and cave rations.
You know, Reagan and Bush and others talked about us finding a common enemy that we could all get behind. How about our extinction and pollution?
Well, we've gone really beyond pollution. We are beyond pollution. You could turn off polluters. The EPA was funded and became a force in the world to address pollution. They were dealing with John D. Rockefeller's ancestors who were dumping gasoline into the Ohio, Monongahela, Gila rivers.
Well, you can't even light a match near it today.
Let's stop that. Okay, so that's what the EPA was supposed to do. We had coal burning mills across the country just spewing toxic stuff and creating a little phenomenon we like to call acid rain. Killing forests 2,000 miles away in friggin' Tennessee and North Carolina and South Carolina on the Blue Ridge Mountains. They got no polluting going on there. No, it's acid rain. It's coming from these factories that are spewing this crap into the air. It gets carried up into the air. And it just happens to dump into you because the Blue Ridge Mountains are over here in the jet stream. Thank you so much. This is not some phenomena. We know about it. We do it. We've done it. And so now we're at a point of how many generations beyond us are going to have a planet that's viable.
Do you think that human population is a threat to our health? Because I think that overpopulation is actually not a thing. It's really the misdistribution of wealth. And that overpopulation is actually used by the elites, such as Bill Gates and the like, to use that as a euthanasia type Darwinism gone wrong, survival of the fittest type thing. You get what I'm saying?
No, I do. I've heard the arguments. And I'm sympathetic to the overpopulation argument. I mean, it's kind of a math thing. But I believe actually, the truth of it is, we have come to a place where overpopulation is not an issue anymore because we got there. We are overpopulated.
According to whose measurement? Against what?
No, by any measurement. We are not in the first world countries. We are not replacing ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Our death rate, birth rate is negative.
Well, in the actually the Eastern white Europeans, especially the other races are actually surviving and multiplying. That sounds like a racist thing to say. That's just a fact. I mean, take that for what it is.
No, it's not true. Our population growth as a world has slowed down considerably.
Yeah, that's what I think Eli Hawking said our biggest threat is like we're not reproducing.
Right. It will become a problem. But right now, that is not the problem. We are full. We are full. What's going to happen is, as we age, the allocation of resources is going to be more difficult to manage. But right now, our planet is full. And the only growth that is happening, and it's minuscule, is from some third world countries. But it doesn't matter. We're already doing well. We already didn't heed the warnings of overpopulation. Of course we wouldn't. But nature took care of it. Well, we are not replacing ourselves.
Well, I feel like if we were responsible in the way that we dealt with our existence in physical materiality, that we could not just hurt and be a cancer on this world, but rather be in synchronization with it, at least, without hurting it. So I think 8 billion of us could live together in harmony. I mean, maybe this is my ideological naivety, that we could do it in a way without hoarding all the resources. The inequality of wealth distribution is ludicrous. The amount of money that we spend for our military defense, quote, offense is astronomical in comparison to what we actually spend on eradicating hunger and suffering.
Well, no. The bottom line of inequality of income is probably the most, I kind of feel, the most significant threat to the ongoing viability of our planet. We have created a situation where so few people, and it's a big number of people. It's not a few. It's 5 million people in the globe control 50% of its wealth. This breeds violence at the end of the day. And try to sort of tell ourselves that the rich, it's okay for the rich to get richer because they deserve it somehow. But that's wrong. The rich are getting richer at the expense of everybody else. Since, in the United States, since Ronald Reagan became president, the working class has, it used to be, if you were working class, one person had to work and the other could stay at home, raise the children, and 2.3 children, and everybody is in balance. Since him, all of the productivity gains, and this is 40 years worth of productivity gains, have gone to less than 10% of the population. Before him, productivity gains were shared by the working class, which was 60% of the population. That's not true. So we're at a place where the middle class, quote unquote middle class, are people who make less than $190,000 a year. And they need two people to work. They cannot afford to have 2.3 children and hardly afford to have one. They're not replacing themselves. We're shrinking. The middle class is shrinking. And the poor class is actually doing a little bit better. They're not absolute poverty, but they're still poor. So it's like the transfer of wealth has gone to the upper 10%, and the rest of us, the lower 90%, is subsistence. Subsistence. That's not the way it was. That's the way it is.
Dad, you have contributed so much to the show tonight.
Always a pleasure.
We have some comments. And Africa is multiplying the fastest.
Yeah. It's a survival thing.
And then half of the 8 billion in the world subscribe to Abrahamism, which is from Judaism, Christianity, and then Islamism. We don't realize how big of a thing that is, I don't think.
Nah, I don't think it's that much.
Half the world is a part of either Judaism, which makes up the smallest, and then Christianity and Islam, which makes up a big part. And then we have the Hindus and the Buddhists, who make up less than half.
And we have a little country called China, which doesn't have any religion.
Their religion is the emperor is their religion.
No, their religion is non-religion. They're totally atheistic. They have ancestor worship, and they have...
Well, then that's their religion. And they think that their ruler is the mouthpiece of truth and absolutism, so that qualifies as a religion.
Nah, I don't think so. They decided in the will be ruled by religion or will be ruled by politics. They're ruled by politics. Mao Zedong made that quite clear.
Are we any different?
We are ruled by politics.
Are we any different here in America?
Yeah. We are. Look at the division, Democrat Republican. Look at the focus of religion underlying those two camps. It's a religious war.
You could talk about Marxism and Trotskyianism and Leninism as a religion.
No. Those are various forms of a
secular religion.
No, they're a sans religion, political only. We will not have religion in our country. We will only have politics. religion doesn't go here. And in our country, we're like, oh, separation of church and state. Well, that's bullshit. But in Trotsky, the revolution was no more religion. So the Eastern Orthodox Church, boom, gets kicked over to Constantinople. Adios. Go back to where you came from. We ain't buying it. We are totally political. And we say, communism. We share. Everyone's equal. There's no religion. There's just the force of economics, survival. We have the party. So the party, it's a political.
Somebody commented, not Trotsky, but Bronstein. Do you know who Bronstein is?
No.
Let's look him up on Google. I guess that's who was behind Trotsky. I didn't mean to get you off your point, Dad. I'm sorry. Continue.
Well, no, it was Lenin, Marx, Trotsky, and Hegel was in the background. And what the purpose of that whole revolution was to get religion and get the monarchy out.
Oh, here it is. Leon Trotsky, a.k.a. Lev Davidovich Bronstein, better known as Leon Trotsky.
Well, I'm corrected. I didn't know that was happy to be corrected.
A Bolshevik, a friend of Lenin,
Yes.
God, there's so much of this history that I just do not know. They don't teach it to us, Dad. They don't teach it to us. And I mean, I skipped a lot of high school, but I'm sure if I didn't, I bet you the days I skipped, they weren't talking about this.
No, this was college level stuff.
You learned about this in college?
Absolutely.
You learned that Leon Trotsky was really, his name was Bronstein?
I was a history major. Of course I did.
And what did they tell you about the people of Jacob and Isaac who adopt Israel as their homeland?
There are those who use their Jewish sort of heritage as a going forward point to continue it. I will tell you straight up, Lenin, Trotsky did not. They disavowed.
Their Judaism?
Their religion was not going to be part of their going forward.
But then they took it on in a more secular manner, which resulted in Marxism and...
No, they didn't. They disavowed the religion of Abraham.
Okay, well...
Religion was a non-factor.
Okay, well, look
it was all politics.
I want to take this to the personal world, but look at my boss, who is from Israel, adopts that. He's not religious. He's an atheist, self-avowed. But he believes that the Jewish people have the right to the state of Israel because they are somehow chosen even though he says he's not religious, he still says it's like a religious thing to think that. Or it's just a racist thing.
Overall, you got to remember, the overall gestalt on this is the Jews, the followers of Abraham.
We have to be careful with the words that we say here, Dad.
They're a persecuted people. And in our time now of, they've been persecuted so long, they deserve something. And I believe that's what all this devolves into. They deserve something. Okay, so they want this desert tract in the middle of nowhere, can't even grow an olive tree. Okay.
Well, it turns out it's in a strategic, actual geographic place, actually, for trade routes, perhaps. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
That's what they say.
No, that's history. It's no longer it's no more a trade route today than Miami, which is actually given it as a port. It has a trade function, but it's not the basis. The basis is it's just we're guilted into this diaspora after Holocaust, so they finally land someplace, the Holy Land, and after we fight over it for 1,000+ years, we stopped finally killing Muslims there and killing Crusaders there, and the Hebrews were always a part of that culture. They sort of survived and claimed it as their homeland, Jerusalem, their homeland, based on all these, fictitious stories. But it's like, well, don't they deserve something? We've kicked them out of 50 countries. We basically immolated them in a war, turned them into slaves, stole all their possessions. Don't they deserve something? I was like, yeah, okay, let's give them this little spit of desert that's, what they want.
See, that's actually falling into the narrative. Perhaps they never had their stuff stolen from them. I mean, they were given.
Oh no,
They were given. They were given notes.
No, that's not even close to truth. The will make reparations was a bullshit deal.
The Havara agreement.
Everything was stolen from them. It happened before. It happened. This is not a new way to do things. You get rid of a people so you can take all their real estate, all their art, all their goods. It's happened 10 times. I mean, more than it didn't just happen to the German Jews. It happened to, the Armenians. The whole Armenian. They had a diaspora. They were kicked out. They were stolen from. They looked to the Russians to protect them. They didn't. It was a political taking of the wealth of the wealthiest because we could.
Oh.
And again, this is not. It's not like a unique. Oh my goodness, never happened before. It happens all the time.
Well, in this certain instance, the Havara agreement, which I have pulled up on my screen.
Yeah, but that was fine and dandy, but never adhered to. It was just like, okay, you guys can all leave, and we'll pay you for all your stuff that you left behind. Yeah, thank you so much.
It was a major.
Bullshit.
It was a major factor in making possible the migration of approximately 60,000 German Jays to Palestine between 1933 and 1939, an agreement between Nazi Germany and Zionist German Jews. On Wikipedia still, Dad.
No, but... Alright, I gotta go.
Alright. I love you.
I love you too, babe.
Alright, bye-bye. Aww, my precious little dad. Yeah, and you see, these are the conversations that we have when we're trying to learn. We don't know all the answers. Lord knows I don't. Sell your art and tell your boss to shove it. You won't buy my art. It's really, I don't even want to sell it because I get so attached to it. Wow. Dad doesn't understand how Al Gore's rhythm works. I know, I almost brought him into that, but I didn't. Dad's smoking the good stuff. Maybe he can let us some of that crack. There's no reason. Crackheads aren't born from crackheads, so that's why I'm fucking crackheady. My dad is just the best. I fucking love him. All right, well, I said I was going to talk about ADL's tweet to Dave Chappelle Part 2. And perhaps this is a Part 2. And we'll do a Part 3 later. What is it, 9:15? All right, I love you guys all so much. The good is winning, I believe. I know that sounds very QAnon-y. The white hats, sir. The government is secretly here to save you. Get the fuck out of here with that. My concern is that people are going to... Okay, so we've been hip to this inequality of power balance and how it's in the hands of certain people. But how can we expose that without just propping up their prophecies to be persecuted? An honest dialogue, hopefully, with some humility, with our personality, consciousness, awareness being stripped of its ego. Dog, your boy is fucking born for this. And so are you, motherfuckers. If you're watching this fucking video right now, reach out and touch the screen. I'm thinking about starting doing ASMR videos. It's gotta be a way that I could make money and just fucking do my shit without having to work fucking labor. I am right here with you. I am the Divine Mother. That's who you want to get in touch with, you motherfuckers. You motherfucker. You, the sacred scarab. The Cancerian energy. Nurturing the mother, our moon, who dropped us off here. Dog, I have been going so deep into Gnostic shit. And what it does, it's syncretic. It brings all the world religions together. But I'm not claiming that I know anything because I don't know shit. But I've come across something I want to share with y'all, which is called Gnosticism. It's the G for the Grand Mason, the Grand Architect, Gnosis, Gematria. The Goyim shall swear their undying fealty to the nation of Israel. Shout out to Soul Trip for always bigging me up. Let's see what she's talking about. Oh, the audio's not playing. That's okay. Back it up. Selecta. This is my second night on the Wake movement. My third night almost. I'm going to start doing the Wake movement more. And ultimately, the All Souls Aquarian Temple is how we're trying to start coming together. I think there is such a thing as divinity, humanity, and animality. We want to transform our animal, primal nature as humans to ascend to divinity, perhaps. I could be wrong. All right, love y'all.